sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us chant Om together. Om. 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 Look around and see we are here in this hall. Center ourselves here in this chair, sitting now, present, right now, not past, not future, now. I. Repeat unto yourself mentally, I. Let us chant. I will chant and then you repeat after me. Dikkaladhyanavachinna, Dikkaladhyanavachinna, Ananta Chinmatramurtaye, Ananta Chinmatramurtaye, Swanubhutye Kamanaya, Swanubhutye Kamanaya, Namah Shantaya Tejase, Namah Shantaya Tejase. I salute that which is limitless, beyond all limitations of space, all pervasive, beyond all limitations of time, eternal, beyond all object limitations, non-dual, that all pervasive, eternal, non-dual, pure consciousness, limitless, I salute, which is ever experienced, which need not be proved by any proof, but which illumines all proofs. The existence of all things and the absence of all things is illumined by that consciousness. It is ever peaceful. It is peace itself, beyond the trouble of samsara, even when samsara is appearing in consciousness. Ever radiant in waking, in dreams, in deep sleep. That I salute. Dikkaladhi anavacchinnaya namaha, anantaya namaha, chinmatramurtaye namaha. I salute that one which is beyond all space, time, object limitations. I salute that one which is limitless. I salute that one which is pure consciousness. My salutations unto that one which is ever proved by my own experience. Which experience? Just like seeing anything is the proof of my eyes. Any experience in the world, including terrible experiences, suffering also, is the proof that I am limitless consciousness. Shanta, ever peaceful, beyond worldly trouble, in the midst of this worldly experience, ever radiant, this blazing forth always, shining forth always. Which is shining forth? You are the light that shining, everything else is lit up. You shining, the mind is lit up, thoughts, feelings, emotions. You shining, the senses are lit up. You see, hear, smell, taste, touch. You and the mind and the senses being lit up, the world is revealed to you. You shining, everything else shines. By your light, everything here is lit up. Upanishad, Kathopanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. That shining, everything else shines afterwards. By its light, everything here is lit up. You shining, everything else shines after you. By your light, by you the light, everything here is lit up. All right, a little bit of discussion of this before we go ahead. You can come up in two queues here and there. If you have questions, don't be shy. Tell us your name and make a precise question. The gentleman here, tell us your name.
Srinivas.
Yes.
So when I, talk about consciousness, as I understand it, it's different from the consciousness we as you understand in medical science.
Yes.
Right? So when you say that, are you aware of the model? How do I know that I'm not trying to be cool and just actually telling you that the light bulb of my mind is on? How do I differentiate consciousness from awareness?
Right. So when we say consciousness, you're saying words like consciousness. What's your name, sir?
Srinivas.
Srinivas, yes. So words like consciousness, you mean something different from what is generally meant by the word consciousness, and especially in medical science, in psychology. So what do we normally mean by consciousness? I'm seeing you, I'm having the experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. So sensations are consciousness. Thinking is consciousness. Memory is a consciousness. Consciousness is involved somehow in all these things. And then many other things, intelligence, creativity, pain. Pain is an important thing. So pain, pleasure, all of these are the things which we study in consciousness studies, for example. Now, from an Advaitic perspective, not just Advaitic, Sankhya, Indian philosophical perspective, all of these, what we just mentioned, what is normally meant by consciousness in a dictionary sense, in a medical sense, in a psychology sense, in modern consciousness studies or philosophy of mind, it is consciousness plus some object. So I have this feeling of pain. Is this consciousness? Yes, consciousness, and the object is pain. I am seeing this bottle of water. This consciousness and the object is the bottle of water. Of course, mediated through the eyes, through the mind, and then a bottle of water. What do we mean by consciousness when you're talking about it? Is there a precise definition? Yes, there is a precise definition here in Vedanta, in Sankhya. There's no precise definition in modern science. A friend of mine who is a noted mathematician said about consciousness studies, modern consciousness studies, it's not a mature field. It's not a mature field as long as you cannot define what is it that you're studying. That does not mean we should not study consciousness in modern consciousness studies. We should, but also recognize that it's not clearly defined. There are various definitions. Phenomenal consciousness, access consciousness, many things are there. What is the definition of consciousness in Vedanta, in Sankhya also? Very clear. That which is an object, whatever you can experience is not consciousness. It's an object. It's called jada. Jada means an object to consciousness. That which experiences everything is consciousness. It's a negative definition. You're defining consciousness by saying what it is not. In all our experience, there are these two sides, the object and there is consciousness. Consciousness plus object is experience. Consciousness plus object. I'm using the word consciousness, awareness indistinguishably. There's no clear word in English for what I mean. But consciousness plus object is experience. Anything that you can experience is not consciousness. Suppose you think, so I'm thinking, is this consciousness? No, it is consciousness plus an object, the thought. I'm feeling pain. Is this consciousness? No, it is consciousness plus the pain. So consciousness plus object is experience. That is what consciousness is. That which makes all experience possible. That which gives us first person experience is consciousness. What is meant by consciousness here in Vedanta, which makes first person experience possible. But first person experience itself is not pure consciousness. But chin matra murtai. Chin matra means consciousness itself. When we have first person experience, a philosopher pointed it out to me. Swami, when you say it feels like something, the like is an object. What does it feel like to taste coffee? What does it feel like to see a red flower? What does it feel like to feel the pinch of a needle going into your hand, injection? Feels like something. What it feels like keeps changing throughout our life. How does it change? When the objects keep changing, what it feels like also keeps changing. To see the bottle, there's a feeling of what it is to see the bottle. There's a feeling of what it is to touch the bottle. There's a feeling of what it is to hear the bottle. That's a feeling is changing. Seeing is one kind of experience, touching is one kind of experience, Hearing is another kind of experience. There's something common to all of them, something unalterable. You, the awareness to which these experiences are happening. Why are the experiences different if it's unalterable awareness? Because the objects are changing. And there's an instrument. The instrument is eyes plus your mind, sense organs plus mind. At one point, it transits into being subjective. That is the mystery. The doctor, the neuroscientist can, the object is public, the physical organs are public, like objective. The nervous system can be studied up to the neuronal activity in the brain. fMRI scans can, I think they can give you activity. But the experience itself of seeing it, that is not public. So that which makes all experience possible, but which itself is not an object of experience, that is consciousness. And that is everything, that's something that we are experiencing all the time. We are aware, nobody doubts it. There's a question of how we are aware that we are aware. That's the question. No, really. So the term here, I mean, you can go into a lot of depth here. Tejase, radiance. What does it mean? Swanubhuti ekamanaya. Yes. You have to switch it off. Swanubhuti ekamana. The only proof of this is your own experience. What it's like is this. I am here. You are here. You know that you are here. But somebody else is here. How do you know? I saw that person. Or let me look at the list of attendees. Everybody, suppose everybody is signed and you look at the list of people who have signed. I know that person is here. But I am here. Do you ever say, let me look and see? Yeah, I am here. Or do I ask the cameraman, take a good look. Can you see me? Yes, I can see you, Swami. Then I am here. He can see me. We never look for sensory perception to prove our own existence. We never ask for, a secondary source, an authority to prove our existence. We never ask for scripture records. Did I sign? Then I must be here. No, we automatically we are aware of our own existence. How? This is called Swaprakash, self-luminosity. If we go a little deeper, let me just outline the argument and stop. This is related to what is meant by consciousness here. The idea is all knowledge requires three entities: knower, knowable object, and the instrument of knowledge. Knower in Sanskrit is called pramata, knowable object is called prameya, and the instrument of knowledge is called pramana. So this is a knowable object, prameya. I am the knower, pramata, and I use instrument of knowledge. This is chakshusha pratyaksha, visual perception, in order to know this. Three things. These three things together are called triputi, the triple foundation of knowledge, epistemological foundation, the triple foundation. Knower, instrument of knowledge, this. And all knowledge is like this. You are the knower, you know something, and there's a way of knowing it. You need an instrument. But except yourself, we clearly are aware that we exist. This goes back to Descartes' inquiry, cogito ergo sum. It is impossible to doubt one's existence. If you doubt your own existence, you are the one who is doubting. So your own existence is proved by the same doubt. So I exist is no doubt. But how do I know? How do I know of my existence right now? If you say that all knowledge is possible because of knower, instrument of knowledge, and object of knowledge, if that is the way I know things, then in my own case, follow this carefully. In my own case, I exist, my own existence. How is it known? Who is the knower? What is the known? And what is the instrument of knowledge? If the object of knowledge is I, the knower is I. But the knower, instrument of knowledge, and knowable must be separate things. To know my own existence, there must be another self which knows this, using some instrument of knowledge. But to know that self, you need another self which knows that, using some other instrument of knowledge. This is called regressus ad infinitum. This is a fault in philosophy. In Sanskrit, it is called anavastha dosha, lack of foundation. It's a logical fault. It's also an epistemological fault. Remember, The knower, instrument of knowledge, and the known object must be established before you get the knowledge that I know this. There must be an object of knowledge, there must be a knower, and there must be an instrument. Then only knowledge is produced. But then there must be a self which knows this self. And to know that self also, there must be another self. If you have an infinite regression of selves, then the knowledge itself will not start, because each instant of knowledge takes at least one instant of time. You will require infinite time before you come to know yourself. That is not the way we know ourselves. Which way? Knower, instrument of knowledge, object of knowledge. We know everything in that way except ourselves. So the one way of establishing this conclusion, Swaprakash, self-luminous, is that I, the self, this awareness which I am, is self-luminous. It is self-revealed. Self-revealed not in the sense of revealing this. It is self-shining or self-luminous. Example is the light. To know everything in this room, to illumine everything in this room, things are not luminous by themselves. You have to switch on the light, and then everything in the room is illumined by the shining light. But to know that light, to see that light, you don't need to switch on another light. So that light, it reveals everything in the room, and it is self-luminous. Similarly, consciousness, it reveals everything, whatever is presented to it through the instruments, and it is self-luminous. You don't need another consciousness to know consciousness. Okay, we'll cap it there.
Namaste, Swamiji. My name is Gaurav. A question regarding how you explain Namaha. You said that it's not mine. So first we claim that it's the consciousness is like you can't divide it, but why are we ending it with Namaha? Why are we creating that separation?
Separation because it's an invocatory words. The tradition is in all Sanskrit, this philosophical text, you start with an invocation to Brahman, to God, or to Guru, God and Guru generally. So we salute God and seek the blessings of God for this pursuit. But here there is a unique case. The God here is none other than our real self. So it's like I, the apparent self, bowing down to the glory and the magnificence of my real nature. I'm treating it as if it is other than me. Vivekananda said, seen from the inside, it is yourself. Seen from the outside, it, as it were, it is God. The God of religion is none other than this Brahman, your own real nature. Seen as it were, suppose I do not inquire into myself. I am Sarvapriyananda, I don't do any inquiry. Then what is this Brahman? It is God for me. If I do the inquiry which will be taught here, I will see I am that. Yes. That's why Namaha, salutation.
My name is Anvesh. I'm from Toronto. So basically, this is to look into.
Do you know what Anvesha means?
Discovery.
Inquiry, investigation. So Anvesha, it is the original name of Darshana. Darshana became the name for philosophy. All this is Darshana. But an ancient name was Anvikshiki. Anvikshiki, the science of investigation. That's what we will do today, actually. Yes, go on.
So basically, this is about how we apply this. So Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So we've done the Shravana right now. Then we are going to debate, think about it. Then we're going to do the Nididhyasana part. That I'm not completely clear about, but I think from what I understand, it's like a Vedantic meditation. So the Vedantic meditation is, so we were just talking about one aspect of Brahman, which is infinity. So if you're thinking about, if you're meditating, we've done the Panchakosha, Viveka, we've come to the Anandamaya Kosha, theoretically, what I'm thinking it is, and then you're getting to a point where you might be seeing the reflecting consciousness, which again, I'm not sure if that's what's happening, but you're getting to that point, and then you're thinking about infinity. So Satchit, Ananda, and then you're, so Ananda, which is Ananta. So you're going into the infinity part. Now, am I just imagining what infinity might feel like, or how I would experience it?
No. What we do is we track it in our own experience. Remember, we tried a little bit of that. Try to visualize a thought experiment of absolute stillness. Do as much as you can physically. Sit still, close your eyes, silent environment, not seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching as much as possible. Silencing, quietening the mind. rhythmic breathing, neutral feeling. When you still the mind to the greatest possible extent, that quietness, absolute stillness, it's still an experience. Experience to what? When you stay there with that thought, with that inquiry, that becomes Vedantic Nididhyasana. Not a philosophical speculation, not an imagination. For example, I'm sitting here. For me, you're standing there. Is that a theory or is that imagination? Or you'll say just a fact. Just a fact. If I draw your attention to the fact that you are standing there, it's noticing what's the fact right now, what is the case right now. Advaitic non-dual meditation is exactly like that. To come to that point, therefore, you cannot jump to that point. If you jump to that point, it will feel like meditation. It will feel like imagination. One must go step by step, and each step one must stand steadily and see that it's a fact. It is what is the case. We use Wittgenstein's language, what it is right now. It will produce. It will proceed like that. Every Vedantic meditation is like that.
So when you're learning about the infinity, like you just said, that there is the you're in your own body, so you just have the limited feeling of space. But when you start thinking it's infinite, maybe that's where the breakthrough is. But how do we do that? Or
yeah, that will be shown. First of all, how do you do that? You have to first understand it. Suppose I say consciousness is infinite. What does it mean? First of all, the teaching will be infinite means no limits. No limits means no space limit, no time limit, no object limit. Once those thing is clarified, this is what infinity means. Then we have to notice that there is really no space limit, no time limit in consciousness. That does not mean, for example, immediately you say, so then if consciousness has no space limit, everywhere there's consciousness, I should be conscious of everything in the universe all at once. No, not in that sense. I said there's a difference between knowledge and the unknown. Known and unknown, both are appearing in consciousness. Imagine the mind in dreams. In our dreams, follow this carefully. In our dreams, when we are experiencing something in a dream, we don't know it's a dream. Even in a dream, there are people who are seeing places we are seeing and experiencing, and we also have the feeling of a big world outside. We don't feel in our dreams only this person exists and everything else is a vacuum. No, we feel we are in the middle of like a waking state only. There is an unknown world. But when we wake up, that little thing which we experienced and the vast so-called unknown world, the whole thing was in my mind. It's not that there is a space and somehow like a perfume consciousness pervades all of it. No. Space itself is an appearance in consciousness. Time itself is an appearance in consciousness. This is a lot like the conclusions that Kant came to, Immanuel Kant, that our experience of this universe is through certain categories. And these categories are not actually in the universe. It's our mind which experiences the world like that. Time, space, all of these are constructs in order to make sense of this. There's a gentleman, Donald Hoffman. He works in the University of UC Irvine. I had a conversation with him recently. What he was saying, he's coming at it entirely from cognitive science and from some cutting edge physics, which I didn't, it's way beyond my understanding. But what he was saying sounds exactly like Advaita Vedanta. He said all the time, the world which we are experiencing, we're constantly rendering it through our nerves and brain and all of that. Are we seeing the world as it is? He said, absolutely not. You would go mad if you see it as it is. We are seeing a representation which we can handle. He gives the example of a computer screen. So in a computer screen, are you dealing with the computer as it is? Zeros and ones and not at all. You couldn't. So computer screen presents some nice icons for you to click on and do what. That's not what is going on in the computer. But that's the only thing you can deal with. Similarly, our experience of nature. This is coming from evolutionary science and evolutionary neuroscience, not from Vedanta. Our experience of nature, according to him, is an entire construct by our minds. Otherwise, we couldn't deal with, we couldn't live. See, the older idea was that we are experiencing reality through our eyes, ears, and all. Why? Evolution demands that. If you did not experience reality, you would not survive in this world. It's the survival of the fittest. You would be unfit to survive in this world if you did not experience reality. The organism would perish. He says it's exactly the opposite. If you experience reality, you would not survive in this world. You must experience the reality in a way you can handle it, in which you can manipulate your environment and live in that environment, get food, protect yourself, not experience the whole spectrum as it is. You will just fuse yourself. You try to experience nature as it is. All right, we'll leave it there. Just these 3 questions and then we will go on. Yes. Just speak into it, yeah.
My name is
It must be switched off. Let's just see now.
Are you?
No, what happened? I can hear you, but all right, we'll take this question. Can you set that microphone right? Yes.
Swamiji, my name is Ravi Marwaha, and we are here from Cleveland, Ohio. First of all, I want to thank you very much. For the past 3 years, we've been following you, and we have weekly discourses after listening to your talk. So in the last discourse, my question is, in the last discourse here, you mentioned that Brahman is realized by enlightened people in every experience. And I know you talked about object and consciousness is an experience. And I, as a sadhak or spiritual seeker, do I consciously think that I'm realizing Brahman? How do I go about it? How do I experience Brahman?
Oh, okay. Shravan Manan Nididhyasana. Keep listening, think it through, and then you will begin to see it's pretty straightforward. You remind me of one more thing. Srinivas. Yeah, the question about consciousness, which we study in our day-to-day use of consciousness, the word consciousness in English and in consciousness studies and so on and so forth, and in Advaita. What is the relationship then? The question might arise then this consciousness which we study in science and in psychology and in philosophy of mind, and this consciousness, pure consciousness, which they're talking about, Chinmatra, consciousness only, what's the connection? Are they entirely different things? Or are they related in some way? One very good analogy of how they are related is this. It's like moonlight and sunlight. So the moonlight illumines the earth at night, right? Everything is, without moonlight, it will not be dark. But the moonlight is nothing other than sunlight. Remember, at night, we don't see the sunlight as such directly. But what we are using for illuminating is moonlight. So in this case, so what is the analogy? The sunlight and sun is the Atman, pure consciousness. The moon is like the mind, and the moonlight is the consciousness which we feel right now in the mind, which we are quite clear about. And this is the consciousness with which we transact, with which we are aware of our own thoughts and emotions, with which we are aware of pain and pleasure, with which we, through the senses, are aware of forms, sound, smell, taste, touch. So this is the relationship between the empirical consciousness, which is the provenance of medical science, psychology, and modern disciplines, and the pure consciousness they're talking about. They are literally the same thing. But this empirical consciousness is dependent on that pure consciousness. It's basically that pure consciousness sort of limited through, channeled through mind and senses. There's this cartoon I remember, very funny. Do you know there's a story about vampires? They cannot stand sunlight. So there was this cartoon of a scientist at night is sitting, and a vampire has come to bite him. And the scientist has opened the windows, and moonlight is coming through the window. And the vampire laughs, ha, 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 that is moonlight, you fool, you don't know. Moonlight cannot do anything to me. Scientist said, but we have proved moonlight is sunlight only. Then the vampire starts burning up. Yes. So this is the whole process. Shravan Manan Nididhyasana will make it clear to me. First, listen to the teachings, then argue it out to understand what is meant by this inquiry into who am I. As we do inquiry into who am I am Brahman will be experienced. That's the answer to your question.
All right.
Vichara is the way.
Thank you.
My name is Visala from Chennai Mission Principal. Thanks to Swamiji, we studied Kathopanishad while Swamiji is giving some simultaneously studying in our adult satsang group. My question today is when Swamiji asked all of us to think of here, now, and I. when that makes me feel like going inside, like there is much more smaller entity, and makes it even more like everyone is thinking. So each of them is an I here. How do I go from there to that Ananta?
Yes. This is a good question. When I say I'm not the body, not the mind, I'm blocking out the world, I'm stilling the body and the mind, am I not becoming smaller and smaller and smaller? When I say I'm not the body, not the senses, not the mind, mano, buddhi, ahankara, chittan, am I becoming smaller and smaller? No. What Vedanta is trying to do here is to discover the reality that I am, and from that perspective, I will see that reality is infinite. We do not know what we truly are. And not knowing what we truly are, we become strongly identified with this body mind, which is very limited. How many bodies are here? Many. How many minds, how many personalities, persons are here? Many. But consciousness by itself, we do not know what it is. When we discover that consciousness, the first thing is to discover myself as consciousness. Then we will see the unlimited nature of that consciousness. Then we will see it is vast. Then we will see it's not limited by space-time object. We think we are small. I am in this hall. Vedanta is trying to tell you the hall is in you. Pittsburgh is in you. USA is in you. But not in you the body. Not in you the body. It's in you the consciousness. This body, mind, universe, whatever is experienced is in you the consciousness. Think about it this way. The world, the universe, your mind, body, personality, everything appears to you the consciousness. This people can sort of get, yeah, it appears to me. In you the consciousness. This is more tricky. Third is as nothing but you the consciousness. 3 steps and 3 huge philosophical jumps are made. Everything appears to you the consciousness. This is Sankhya, yoga. Patanjali yoga, Sankhya, philosophically, Purusha Prakriti. They're separate, but they're appearing. Prakriti is appearing to consciousness. The second one, everything appears in you, the consciousness. This is Vishishta Advaita, Kashmiri Shaivism. As nothing but you, the consciousness, Advaita Vedanta. Okay.
So when we are sitting here and say here now I, that I is smaller.
Here now I, small I, the whole idea was to become centered. But the feeling of going inwards, that's a very important thing. One must go inwards. Inwards means phenomenological inwards in my own experience, not physically inwards. If you go physically inwards into the body, what will you find? More body. The more sticky, wet, gooey parts of the body inside. Going inwards in your own experience, body, prana, thoughts and feelings, intellect, blankness beyond the blankness, the witness of that blankness. Yes. Last question now.
Swamiji, namaste. My name is Kiran. I have a very, I don't know how to say it. We're talking about consciousness, we're being part of one consciousness, but we're not aware of being part of one consciousness.
No, but remember, I never said part of one consciousness. One moment you say part of one consciousness, we are admitting consciousness as parts, and we are one part. That becomes another philosophical system called Vishishta Advaita. And here we are talking about you are that one consciousness.
So yours and mine is the same?
Yes, and not only yours and mine. You, the consciousness, the same in that is Kiran, body, mind is one, that same consciousness. In Sarvapriyananda, body, mind is one same consciousness. We are not that your consciousness and my consciousness are the same. We are the same. And that's what is that same? One consciousness. It's like one example, ancient example. A big pot is there with many holes. Many rays of light are coming out, different rays of light, thin beams of light through the holes. Inside is one big lamp. Source of light, one. But from outside, it looks like many rays of light coming out. Here it seems many rays of consciousness are coming out. But the source is one. That is what Vedanta wants to say.
So what I am saying in my experience, can I bring how do you factor your karma in?
Oh, all those things will come slowly. Don't worry. That's why this neti approach, not the world, not the body, not the senses, not the mind. If you silence it, consciousness by itself, how will you differentiate between one person and another? Did you see that? But we are different. Your experience and my experience are different. Right now, you're seeing from that perspective, I'm seeing from this perspective. If you go inside, your thoughts, feelings, memories, personality is different from my thoughts, feelings, memories, personality. However, think about it this way. When we fall asleep and dream, yes, our dreams are also different. But when we go into deep sleep, your deep sleep experience and my deep sleep experience, are they different? How does it feel to be in deep sleep? Nothing. How can one nothing be different from another nothing? Complete blank. The deep sleep of a human, all human beings. Your deep sleep, my deep sleep of President of US, it's same. Of an ant, of an animal, of a bird, same. Blank. It is consciousness illumining a blankness. That's deep sleep. Deep sleep itself is the same for everybody. Now go further inwards. The witness of the deep sleep must be the same for everybody. If there's no differentiation in the deep sleep, how can there be differentiation in the one which is experiencing the deep sleep? It's even deeper than that.
So each whole is different then from where the.
But light is coming out.
So each whole is different. That's why we are all experiencing different.
And there also each whole seems to, whole means the body-mind complex, seems to be different, but they are all appearing in one consciousness only. So that will go. That's a long story. All right. Now let us go on to verse number 2. Who is fit for this? Why do we need to know that? In order to work on ourselves, prepare ourselves for this realization. This is important. Because I've already said, Advaita Vedanta is the last word, the highest teaching. So preparation is necessary. Someone pointed out, what does Advaita Vedanta do? This is pointed out in a Tibetan Buddhist context. They're talking about Dzogchen Buddhism. The same thing for Advaita Vedanta. It's like finding a needle on top of a mountain. In the bottom of a mountain, you are there. Now the instruction will be, go up on this side. Then go to that very big tree. You can see from here, tiny, you can see way up there. Go there. Near the tree, you will find a rock. Underneath the eastern side of that rock, lift it and notice, you will find the needle. That last part, notice under the rock on the eastern side, the needle is there. That's the Advaitic instruction. The rest of it before that is all preparation to bring you to that point. This is one way of looking at it. Anyway, number 2, verse number 2. Aham baddho vimuktosyam. Aham baddho vimuktasyam. Yasyasti nishchayah. Aham baddho vimuktasyam. Aham baddho vimuktasyam. Iti yasyasti nishchayah. Iti yasyasti nishchayah. Natyantamagyo no tajgyaha. Natyantamagyo no tajgyaha. Sosmin shastre adhikaravan. Sosmin shastre adhikaravan. He alone, that one alone is competent to study this text, this scripture, this teaching, who is neither altogether ignorant nor a knower of the truth, and who has the firm resolution, I am bound in the worldly bondage and intend to be liberated from this state of bondage. Okay, this is worth taking a look at. What is this? What is the context? When we study Advaita Vedanta, most texts will introduce us to the fourfold qualifications. This shows us who is competent for Vedanta and what preparations we need to undergo. The fourfold qualifications. Now, many of you, we have been studying Vedanta for a long time, so you should be able to tell me. Fourfold qualification. First, Viveka. What is Viveka? It is the discernment. In English books, is always translated as discrimination, but it's become a bad word now. So all the old Swamis who used to come here would say, you must discriminate, you must discriminate. Now people are, what? But it's bad to discriminate. Now discernment, to see the difference. So Viveka, the discernment, the power to see the difference. Difference between what? That there is an ultimate reality, which spirituality talks about. How do you know that? I don't know. I'm taking it on faith. I would like it to be true. I believe it to be true. I don't know yet. That's the first one. Then the second one is Viveka Vairagya. Vairagya means dispassion. Dispassion. This extraordinary flow of energy, thoughts, and feelings towards the world. This must be blocked and reversed. The world is too much with us. Who said that? Wordsworth? Shakespeare. The world is too much with us. So the world is too much with us. That must be reversed. Otherwise, no great thing can be done. If you want to write a book, paint a picture, do some scientific research, you must cut yourself away. Concentration requires not only focus on what you want, but also actively saying no to everything else. Cut it out. Decision. Somebody pointed this out very interestingly. Decision. The word decision means to decide on something. So no, it actually means to cut out. The root meaning comes from the same root as Caesareans, to cut. Scissors, Caesarean, to cut. Decision means to cut out something. That's the right way to take a decision. Not to select something. If you select something, what will happen is all the options are also available. You might change your mind again. I decide I will get up at 4 a.m. in the morning. Good. But 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. are all available to me. What will happen at 4 a.m. in the morning? It's too difficult. Snooze button. Snooze button. You know, the earlier alarm clocks, even now I think electronic clocks also have snooze button. So after 10 minutes, it will ring again, or 15 minutes, it will ring again. So there were clocks which were designed to work around this psychology of hitting the snooze button. So one clock was there. It's like a little toy. Very interesting. I saw the advertisement. So it will ring. And then it has little wheels. It will scoot away. You keep on ringing. You have to chase it around to press the snooze button. By the time you catch it and press the snooze button, all your sleep has gone. Decision. You must decide, I will wake up at 4 o'clock and no chance of 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar Kali temple, the young people would come, they would stay overnight. Sharada Devi and Lakshmi Devi, they are staying in that. Someone like Sharada Devi, early in the morning, it's still dark. Sri Ramakrishna would pass by their door and say, still sleeping, have you come here to sleep? Get up and meditate, take the name of God. He would, after his morning ablutions, on the way back, still it's dark, not yet light, he would pour water, cold water under the door. The door would be closed from under that. So cut out all other possibilities. There's no way of sleeping anymore. This is an example, decision. So vairagya, to turn our attentions away from this tremendous flowing out into the world, vairagya. Then there comes the sixfold treasure. There's a little bit of cheating here. We think four qualifications. Actually, the third one includes 6. So total 6 plus other 3, 9 are there. The third one, 6 treasures. On the spiritual journey, we need money, treasure. But what kind of treasure is needed in spiritual journey? It is discipline. What are the disciplines? Can anyone tell me? First one? Shama, a mental quietude. Focus on your Vedanta and not on other things. Next one? A physical quietude, control of the senses. Just because I have legs doesn't mean I'll walk around. Just because I have tongue doesn't mean I'll become a foodie, going around every restaurant every other day. No. Just because I have hands doesn't mean I'll keep grasping things. So, phone immediately, always. This is what, extrovertedness. Phone is an extension of our sense organs. So, we always, all the time looking. Yes, if you don't look at it for some time, you will feel uneasy. If you feel uneasy, if little uneasiness is there, the urge is coming again and again to look, this is the sign of addiction. Clear sign of addiction. There was a documentary made by some Facebook, Google engineers or something. How these technology is getting us addicted. So this, like he said, this is the same technology which is used in Las Vegas gambling machine. How does the gambling machine get you addicted? It is that it's not that you will never win. It's not that you will always win. Sometimes randomly you will win. So generate the feeling in your mind, maybe one more time. Just one more time, because it is true. You could win, really you could win. Just one more time. On the average, you'll never win. Las Vegas will win. But now, the same technology was adopted by literally, they said, there's a whole group of people, some of you may be part of that project also, in all these, yes, all these big companies, how to get people addicted. Why do they want you to get addicted? The logic is very simple. Behind everything is money. And their money, they found out that actually giving more and more content in the website and all that is not working, because everybody has, there's so much content in the world. You cannot compete on that way. But you want, then the only way to get your attention is to get you addicted. Why do they want your attention? Advertisement. So for your attention, for them is, for the companies is money, because you will, more you look, every time there's the website gets a hit, they get paid for it. How will they get your attention? They will addict you to it. This is called attention economy. All these things I learned from there. Attention economy. Most precious thing that we have in our lives is attention. Most precious thing. You want to do Vedanta, you want to do yoga, you want to do bhakti, you want to do mindfulness meditation, you want to earn money on Wall Street, you want to get a PhD at Harvard, whatever you want to do. The currency you have, only one currency you have is attention. Is attention. The attention by itself. Milton said, the mind by itself can turn heaven into hell and hell into heaven. It depends on what you pay attention to. So attention economy, they want to steal your attention. Somebody put it very nicely. It is a saying now. If it is free, internet is free. If it is free, then you are the product. You are being sold there. How are you being sold? Your attention is being sold. So Dhammaha, step back, take control of your attention. Don't let it be scattered everywhere. Most precious thing that we have got. Attention. Dhammaha. Then Uparama. Uparama is withdrawal. Uparati. Rati is enjoyment in the world, is flowing out into the world. Reverse it, Uparati. Flow back into yourself. Then there is Titiksha. Titiksha is a spiritual fortitude, toughness, no matter what happens, whatever trouble is there in the world, whatever physical troubles are there, whatever anxieties and fears are there, my spiritual practice will go on. Specifically, my Vedantic, Shravana, Manana, and Nidhyasana must go on. This is toughness. You have all demonstrated it to some extent. Almost all of you have put up with some trouble to come here. You're putting up with some trouble to sit here and listen, pay attention here. See, pay attention. Literally, it's payment and it's attention. It's money and all our teachers, when we were from grade school onwards, have yelled at us, pay attention. It's literally payment and attention. So, titiksha, a spiritual fortitude, to put up with the troubles of the world and not be thrown off from our spiritual practice and spiritual pursuit. Then the next one is samadhana. Samadhana is focus. By all these things, what have you done? All you have done is you have freed up time, energy, attention. Now you must use it. You've cleared the decks. The time is, it's the time for action. Now focus, 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 focus on Vedanta, on Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And then Shraddha. Shraddha is a faith that whatever is being taught here, I don't get it. It's not clear to me. I have many questions. Those will become clear in time. But there is something worthwhile, valuable here. That's why I'm sticking to it. That's how we learn anything. You go to a physics class, a mathematics class, the chances are you'll not get it in the beginning. But if you did get it, you wouldn't need the class. You stick to it in the faith that the professor comes highly recommended, the textbooks are by great people, and it's not fake news. I must stick to it and I will understand. So Shraddha. And then the last one, Mukshuttam, intense desire to be free. So this is the fourfold qualification. Viveka, Vairagya, Shama, Dhamma, the Titiksha, Uparati, Samadhana, Shraddha, and finally Mumukshutva. Discernment, dispassion, mental calmness, calmness of the control of the senses, then withdrawal from too much involvement in the world, a spiritual fortitude, focus, and a firm faith. This is taking me somewhere. I'm not going nowhere. It's taking me somewhere worthwhile. And intense desire for freedom. So he says, I am I am in bondage. Aham baddha vimuktasyam. I shall be free. How do you know? How do you know you're in bondage? Even that is a big step forward, to feel that there is things are not good going well. I am not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with what I've got in life, what I've experienced in life, and whatever else life seems to promise, whatever else is ahead of me, that will not fulfill me. The way I'm going, I will not be fulfilled. And therefore, this is bondage, a feeling of being, this is a feeling of being trapped in this. Somebody said, if you win the rat race, you're still a rat. So yes, run the rat race and quickly see through it that it's a rat race. And look for true fulfillment. I shall be free. This is called drishti. Drishti. This is the beginning of spiritual life. Many people don't come to it at all. A lot of people in the beginning of spiritual life, not beginning, before that, in life, the beginning of life, young people you find, and it's good, very hopeful. Here is the world, and it's full of possibilities and adventure and fulfillment. There's no doubt I'll be happy and successful. Little do they know. You will be. You will get some of what you want, not all of it. And when you get what you want, you will not be satisfied. You will not be fulfilled. That's the secret they don't know. I was reading, very depressing, Sylvia Plath, bell jar, the fig tree. So she says, I sit under this fig tree full of ripe, juicy figs. I look upon them. These are all the ways my life could go. Here is the successful author, which she became. Here is the happy housewife with children and husband. Here is the explorer going out to South America and Africa. These I'm literally quoting. And so many others, vaguely seen, uncertain, all alluring. I wait and watch and think, which one will I pluck and eat? Until they begin to shrivel and drop off one by one, until all are at my feet and it's too late. So, and life is done. So, that is the thing. When we begin to see this, then comes a period when we feel, all right, so this is life, nothing much is possible. Even that person also will not be spiritual. The one who is eagerly rushing forward to life is not a spiritual seeker. The one who is not eagerly rushing forward to life has more or less seen through what life can offer. It will be a little better, a little worse than this. That's what we know. That's the sign of maturity. But the mature person need not be a spiritual person. Might think this is all that life has to offer. There's nothing more to it. But when you come across the Buddha and Jesus and Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Shankaracharya, all the great spiritual masters in all traditions across humanity, across civilization, across history, there must be something to it. Are they all wrong? All of them. Notice, they all say there is something deep and fulfilling. And we have found it. You too can find it. And those who have found it have gone beyond sorrow, suffering, and limitation. This is Sri Ramakrishna put it most bluntly. The goal of human life is God realization. Your goal is infinity, nothing short of that. It is possible. That is the claim of all religions. The core of all religions is spirituality. Not politics and rituals and all of that. That's there. But the core of all religions, the reason why these religions exist is spirituality, the bridge between the human and the divine. So it is possible. And you can get it. You can have it if you want. If you make it your project. As Buddha did, as Vivekananda did, as many others have. These are the famous ones. But thousands and thousands have walked this path and all have benefited from it. And the benefit starts from day one, not at the end when you get nirvana or moksha. Benefit starts here and now. In terms of peace, in terms of meaning in life. Highest possible meaning in life. This is something that will give you meaning in life till the end of life and beyond. Nothing else will give us meaning till the end of life. So everything will drop away like those figs. This will continue with us. So those who take it seriously, like us, you have taken it seriously, otherwise you wouldn't come here. So we start on this path. This is called drishti. Bhagavan Buddha's famous eightfold noble path. The first step is samyak drishti, a wholesome, philosophy of life, view of life. View. Drishti means view. Once this view is there, then comes the rest of spiritual life. I shall be free, vimuktasya. Then spiritual practice starts. The varieties of spiritual practice. Yasyasti nischaya, the one who has fixed this. Natyantamagyaha. So this is the fourfold qualification. Now this is difficult. When we hear all this, dispassion, then the disciplines, oh, I don't have much dispassion. I can't resist. What? Chocolate mint ice cream. Yes, there's a saying which I like, I say it sometimes, that I don't know what is the source of it. It's that, but it's very Vedantic. Whatever is behind you, whatever is yet in front of you, is as nothing compared to what is within you. This is spiritual drishti. Nothing, whatever is behind you, whatever is yet in front of you, is as nothing compared to what is within you. So I said it once in the ashram in Santa Barbara. And then after that, we all went for food. On the kitchen counter, somebody had left a note. Whatever is in front, behind you, whatever is in front of you, is as nothing compared to what is within you and what is within the fridge. What is within the fridge. So we rushed to the fridge and opened it, and ice cream was there. And so this pursuit, that there is a goal to be achieved. It seems very difficult. I don't have dispassion. I do not have the discipline, at least not much. Control of the mind, control of the senses, spiritual toughness. Oh my God, I don't. The moment I feel a little ill, that's the end of my spiritual. Today I can't do meditation. It's no good. Once I was sick as a novice and I was in hospital and I was on IV. I was really sick. So I thought, all right, so I'm really sick. So I can do away with my regular schedule of meditation. I can just lie down and think a little bit about God. That's it. Nobody's going to scold me. Nobody did. Until I saw a senior monk. So that was a hospital ward, only monks were there. And I was a junior most. I was just a kid. Others were mostly elderly monks. I saw a senior monk who was wheeled in after an operation and then put in the bed. He was still under anesthesia sleeping. He got up sometime late in the night. And because I was a young man, I was sleeping there all day long. I didn't get sleep at night. I would stay awake. I saw this monk who had just had an operation, elderly person, quite feeble and sick. 4 a.m., Brahma Muhurta, the hour of Brahman. He struggles up in the bed, turns around, faces the blank wall, sits straight, 2 hours, unmoving. That was a lesson too. We immediately say the discipline, that spiritual toughness, some problem is there. This is not the time for spirituality. When COVID started, talking about Vedantic inquiry, somebody was exasperated, and they said, at this time of crisis, do you have to think about Vedanta? And look at the mentality there. The mentality is when everything is fine, I can go and listen to a nice lecture, that's good. But under crisis, I may die tomorrow. There is invisible enemy all around me, COVID virus. That is the time for Vedanta. If Vedanta does not come to my help in the time of crisis, I do not care for such a Vedanta. Then it's just time pass, a nice intellectual lecture, philosophical lecture. No, it must help me. Vivekananda put it this way: the religion that does not wipe the widow's tears, the religion that does not hold forth a piece of bread to a starving man's mouth, and promises me heaven after death, I do not care for such a religion. It must be of help to me right now, right here. That much Vedanta which I have learned, that also should be of help to me right now. So, it's difficult when we hear these fourfold qualifications. So, here the author makes it easier. So you don't have to bother so much. Those will come in time. Don't worry. They are important, but it will come in time. All we require is you want it. And what kind of you? What kind of person? Natyantamagya. Not a completely worldly person. It's all about parties and having fun, and that person it will make no impression on that person. Not tajgyaha, not somebody who's enlightened. No, that person also doesn't need this. It is someone in between, literally us. We have the discipline, the desire, the inquiry to sit quietly and listen to this and study it for ourselves and take a look for ourselves and practice. All of us, almost, I think almost everybody, nobody has come to a spiritual talk, an ashram or a meditation session or a philosophy talk for the first time. I think almost all of us, somewhere or the other, we have been connected with spiritual life for many, many years. So that's the kind of person he's talking about. So asmin shastre adhikaravan. That person is qualified to study this Vedanta. Ramana Maharshi made it even more simple. Even more simple. Somebody asked him, can I undertake Vedanta, the self-inquiry? Ramana Maharshi self-inquiry. Can I inquire about the self? And Ramana Maharshi said, did you say I? If you say I, you are qualified. Who does not say I? We all, that's our favorite word. Always I. You are qualified for Vedanta because that's all Vedanta is, an inquiry, a look into ourselves. We say I, but we don't look into that I. We are looking out through these eyes into the world all the time. He wants us to take a look at ourselves. That's Vedanta. Now, I'll say something from the notes provided by Swami Dhireshanji. These are subtle matters of Vedanta. I'll give you the gist of what he has said. Students in Vedanta, the Vedantic spiritual seekers, are of two categories. The first category is the one who, when the teaching is given, you are Brahman, bare minimum teaching is given, that person becomes enlightened and realizes I am Brahman. But obviously such a person is very, very rare, extremely rare. The second category of the students is when the teaching is given. If you have got the book, very few have got the book. It is on page 6. I'm studying. You don't have to read it there. I'm giving you the gist. You read it later. The second category of the student is just the teaching by itself is not enough. The first category, if you say to that first category student, Dikkaladhyanavachinna Anantaya Chinmatra Murtaye Swanubhutye Kamanaya Namah Shantaya Tejase. Say, I got it. I am Brahman. Thank you. Tata. But those who are not of that category, that second category of students who do not get enlightenment by the direct teaching, the direct teaching. If such a person comes to Ramana Maharshi says, inquire, find out who are you. And that person inquires and finds out. That's it. That's the first category. The second one is those who, it does not work like that. The second category of students, there are two subcategories. The first subcategory is the teaching is taken and reflection is done on that, manana is done on that, and the person gets a clarity and stays with that clarity, done. So this person requires a vichara, Vedantic inquiry. So who's the second person? Who requires vichara, Vedantic inquiry, which will be taught here. This is also a rarefied category. The truth is taught, and then they're taught step by step to see for themselves, and then they see. They do that inquiry and they see. They might do it repeatedly over a period of time. They do not require any meditation after that. It's done. There is the second subcategory. Remember, category 1, category 2, category 2 has 2 subcategories. Second subcategory is the one who learns the teachings, reads books, listens to talks, goes to masters, learns what is Vedanta, reasons through it, gets clarity, gets it, but then complains. This is that subcategory. Then complains, I have understood it intellectually, but I have not realized it yet. That person requires Vedantic meditation, nididhyasana. The technical reason for Vedantic nididhyasana is like this. There are 3 problems which have to be overcome in Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. First is pramanagata samshaya, doubt about the teaching itself. What is Yoga Vashishta teaching me? What is Kathopanishad teaching me? What is the message of Kenopanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, all these texts? What is the message? The pramana, what is it saying? When you study it under a competent teacher, you study it for yourself, you listen to it, not just listening, just also studying, thinking it through. Finally, you put it all together, it boils down to you are that. Tattvamasi, aham brahmasmi. That's the teaching of all these texts. One might say here, then I don't need all these texts. I just take away that I am Brahman, but you won't understand what that means. They're just words for you. All those texts are necessary for you to understand what that means. I am Brahman, or that you are. So, having understood this, first problem is removed. Doubt about the teaching. Pramana-gata samshaya. Next comes Prameya-gata samshaya. That doubt about what is taught. I now know what is taught. I am Brahman, but I don't understand it. How am I Brahman? I am this person. So all these doubts, you notice the category of the doubt. Brahman is infinite. I am so small. Basically, what are you asking? How am I Brahman? You just said Brahman is limitless. It is eternal, but I am not eternal. I am born and I die. Then how am I Brahman? You said Brahman is all pervasive, but I am not all pervasive. I am only here. How am I Brahman? You're saying Brahman is non-dual. There's nothing apart from Brahman, but I can see so many things are apart from me. Then the explanation will come through argument, subtle reasoning. You begin to see first the logic of it and then the fact of it. That is the removal of the second problem. Second problem, prameya gata samshaya, doubt about the teaching itself. First was what was the teaching? That is the doubt. Now you know the teaching, but doubt about the teaching. I don't get it. Now I get it after the second phase. How do I accomplish this? This whole process is called manana. There should be, at this stage, you should be able to say, I know the teaching of Vedanta and I get it. There should be no question which you cannot answer with confidence, whether by yours, others, or more importantly, by your own mind. No question. It should be as clear as that, clear understanding. But you still say that I have read it, I have got it, but I'm not enlightened. I don't literally feel that I am Brahman, nor am I able to overcome my sufferings, because the whole goal was to transcend suffering, attain fulfillment. I don't feel fulfilled yet. I haven't overcome suffering, not much. I don't live in reality that I am Brahman. I don't feel that. So this is called viparyaya, contrary tendencies. You will find if you read the book, there is some difference in between what I'm saying and what the book says, and I have my own views on that. Anyway, contrary tendencies. I continue to behave as a person. Brahman is an impersonal, non-dual consciousness. That is not reflected in my life. So how do I bring it to my life? Vedantic meditation is the way. Nididhyasana. What you have studied, what is clear to you, stay with it through Vedantic meditation. What is Vedantic meditation? Many, many techniques are there. Aparoksha Anuvati gives you 15 ways. Drigdrishya Viveka gives you 6 ways. There are 10 verses, more than 10, actually 10, a sequence of 10 verses in Vivek Chudamani, which gives you non-dual meditation. Basically, it is thorough understanding of Vedanta and stay there, stay there, stay there until it becomes a living reality for you. That is this subcategory of student. And this subcategory of student requires Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana until the person can claim it's done. Then finally Tata. The first one said Tata in the very beginning. This one says after 20 years. And here, Dhireshanji mentions that yogic meditation, which is sitting in an asana, breathing pranayama, withdrawing from the world, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, all the steps of Patanjali Yoga are useful as supplements. It helps you in non-dual meditation, that much. Then there is one more note about Upanishad, the Varaha Upanishad. It says there are these 2 students. One walks on the path, it's called the Pippilika Marga, the path of the ant. Then another one walks on the path of the bird, the Vihangama Marga, or what is called Shuka Marga. Shuka literally means parrot, but anyway, bird. So the Pippilika Marga, the way of the ant and the way of the bird. Today in modern Neo-Vedanta, you know them as the direct path and the progressive path. This is a very ancient idea. Very ancient, thousands of years back in the Upanishads. The way of the ant is how little by little it walks and traces out the sugar and follows it up and gets hold of a grain of sugar and fulfills itself. So that way we proceed From the drishti, yes, God realization, enlightenment is possible. Then we set right our life, clean up our lives, a moral life. From there we proceed to karma yoga, selfless life. There we proceed to bhakti yoga, devotional practices. It's all part of the same development. God exists. I have faith in God. Ritualistic worship, prayer, meditation, all of that for God. And then yogic practices for stilling the mind. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Then we come to Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Over a long period of cultivation of Vedanta, we realize I am Brahman. Hopefully in the same life, otherwise next life. This is the way of the ant. And the way of the bird is Vihangama. Sudden sound you make and the bird flies away from the tree. Similarly, suddenly something happens, some teaching, some kind of inspiration. I am Brahman is realized. Done. You see, that's unfair. Whether fair or unfair, we don't know. But there are such cases. You must accept. Ramana Maharshi is a classic example. Even today, you have people like, have you heard of that one, Power of Now? Eckhart Tolle. If you hear his life story, he was not particularly seeking anything. A sudden breakthrough he had, but it became permanent immediately. And then he studied many other things and he found it matched with what he has. You must say that there is some genuine breakthrough there. How did it happen? Suddenly. Of course, in Vedanta, we all, in Indian philosophy, we all believe in karma. So we will immediately say, he has done a lot of spiritual practice in past life. So in this life, just as a consolation for the rest of us, he's already done his homework. That's why he can relax now. You do your homework first, your assignments. You have not done it yet. Even this, just a little humorous aside, this invocation which we just did, the first verse, this is called in Sanskrit Mangala Charana. An auspicious invocation. This is done at the beginning of any spiritual talk, any spiritual class, and in fact, any performance also, the Mangalacharana. Auspicious invocation. Now, there's a school of philosophy in ancient India called Nyaya. They are master logicians. They are masters of the art of argument, and they'll argue with you about everything. Everything means everything. So when you start with an auspicious invocation, salutations to Guru and to God, they say, why? Ganthas parisamaptyartham vignanashaya mangalacharana. To overcome all the obstacles in the way of our study. Natural obstacles, obstacles created by people, obstacles created by mobile phone, all of these. Mobile phone creates obstacles. We say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. A little boy once asked me, this is a true story. He asked me that, why do you say Shanti 3 times? I said, usual answer, 3 kinds of obstacles. Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika, physical obstacles regarding the physical body, mind, and then the other living beings, obstacles from other living beings, and natural forces, obstacles. So Shanti, cessation of obstacles, peace at 3 levels. That's why we say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And then that boy is speaking in Hindi. Aapko chautha Shanti chahiye, mobile Shanti. You need one more Shanti. You have to say mobile Shanti, peace to all mobile. So the Nayayikas will object to Mangalacharana also. Why? And we say that, so that all obstacles can be overcome and one can Grantha Parisamaptyartham, successfully complete the text. They will not let you go, the Nayayikas. They will say, there are cases, many cases of books without any invocatory verse, and they have been completed nicely. There are other cases where the invocatory verse is there, but the book is half written. So how do you say that if the invocation will help you to complete the verse, complete the work, and will remove obstacles? There are books which have been completed and no. See all the modern books in the library. How many have salutations to Guru and God in the way? None. They're nicely completed. They have ISBN number and everything finished. And there are so many half moth-eaten manuscripts with nice Sanskrit invocations, but the book is half there only, maybe destroyed or something. Then what do you say? And then the answer will come. Because in the case of those where the invocation was there and the book was not completed. The obstacles were so much, they needed more invocations. They didn't do enough invocations. And in the case of where the book was completed, there's no invocation at all. They have done invocations in past lives. All of it to say that is a way of matching debit and credit. So a person has got enlightenment now. We say that person had done spiritual practice in so much spiritual practice in past life. But anyway, the Upanishad says there are some who go on the direct path. They become enlightened straight away. What can you do about it? We might say, I want that. I want that. You can't sit around waiting for it to happen. So you must engage in spiritual practice. We must start on the path of the ant, Pippilika Marga. You must start with Shravana Manana and Nididhyasana, supported by meditation, devotion, and selfless action. All on a foundation of an ethical life. Ethical life, selfless work, devotion to God, regular meditation, then you have the ground for Shravana Manana and Nididhyasana. Then number 3. Yavannanugraha sakshat jayate parameshwarat tavanna sadgurung kaschit satshastram vapi no labhet. Until one receives the direct grace of the Supreme Lord, one cannot take refuge in a Sadguru or in the noble scriptures, that is Vedanta. Grace. This is the next thing, is the grace of God. What is the role of grace in Advaita Vedanta? This is a question. In fact, there is a book, Brian Malkovsky, I think, The Role of Grace in Advaita Vedanta or in Shankara Vedanta. Very nice book. He is a professor here in Boston College, I think. Anyway, so question of grace in Advaita Vedanta, because we talk about grace in the path of devotion and so on. So what is the role of grace in Vedanta? Important. The role of grace is this. It creates the taste for Vedanta in you. It creates the taste for Vedanta, the liking for Vedanta. Avadhuta Gita, one of the most radical texts of non-dualism, which is all about you are Brahman. But the first verse of Avadhuta Gita is Ishvara Anugrahadeva Pungsang Advaita Vasana. By the special grace of Ishvara, Bhagavan, arises in us a desire for non-duality, this interest in non-duality. If we have turned up here, so that special grace of God is on us. I'm not joking. This is a very valuable thing, that we have got interest in this. This is the highest form of spirituality available to humanity, but which humanity has discovered in thousands of years of the quest of the divine. And we have an interest in it. Not everybody has. Of course, this is a little bit of self-praise and promotion. So it is by special grace of God that you get the teacher and Sat Shastra, this text, not just this text, Advaita Vedanta, the Upanishads, Gita and all that. Especially today, you see a vast supermarket of spirituality is there. So many things are there. So many good things are there. Many more nonsensical things are there. And people get lost in this jungle. I've seen people coming to Advaita and then going somewhere else. One is not ready yet. That's why in the ancient times, this was sort of protected and kept separate, precious. Only when you have demonstrated your readiness, your desire for it and your readiness for it, then it is given to you. But now it is one click, buy now with one click, Amazon.com, Amazon Prime. One click is all it requires for all the Shastras to be delivered to your doorstep. But that does not mean we'll all become enlightened. The real thing is not the book itself, it's the preparation in our own minds. This wanting it, the tradition also, coming into contact with the tradition of Advaita Vedanta, that is a special grace of God. Wanting Advaita Vedanta, special grace of God. Getting a good teacher, special grace of God. So we have the special grace of God, and therefore we should take it seriously. Take up this opportunity. Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Swarga Dwaram Apavritam. Even without wanting it, the doors of heaven have opened up before you. Just walk through it. Okay. Now, the notes by Swami Dileshanji says there are 4 kinds of grace. 4 kinds of grace. Ishvara Kripa, grace of God. Guru Kripa, grace of Guru. Shastra Kripa, grace of the text, of the teaching. And Atma Kripa, the grace of your own mind. So grace of God is always there. Sri Ramakrishna says grace of God is always there for us. God wants us to be spiritual. God wants us to be enlightened. So remember, Sri Ramakrishna used to live on the bank of the Ganga. So he says the wind of grace is always blowing. You raise your sail and catch the wind, then you will sail along merrily. Those little boats you would see in the Ganga, even now you can see. So they would raise a little sail, cloth sail, and they would catch the wind, and then you don't have to row anymore. It will go along by itself. So he says the wind of grace is always blowing, but only those boats who raise their sail, they catch that wind. The grace of God is always there. You want it or not. If you want it, you will be helped. The help will come. How does the help come? Guru Kripa and Shastra Kripa. It's a funny story, not very nice, but anyway. In Bengali, Guru means cow. Guru means cow. And Guru means Guru. Now, one day, we had this big Goshala in the ashram, a lot of cows. And one monastic novice, a senior of mine, he was told, you go and work in the Goshala. He was completely against it. He says, I'm a city boy. What do I know about cows? I'm scared of cows. How can I go and work? I'm not going to work with Guru Sange Kachkobla. I'm not going to work with the cows. And the Swami was in charge of the Goshala, the cow shed. He said, the dairy. He said, I'll tell you in Bengali, it's funny. And then I'll translate. He said, আমি 12 বছর গরু সেবা করে আমার উপরে গরু কৃপা হয়েছে I have served the cows for 12 years and the grace of the guru, so it's a play on guru kripa and guru kripa, the grace of the guru, that is the grace of the cow, has descended upon me. That's how you see I have developed so much in my spiritual life. So you should go and work in the cow shed. Anyway, I sort of knew it would fall flat. So by the grace of Ishvara comes the Guru, teacher. And that's a great grace in in the human form. The Guru is said to be the manifestation of the Anugraha Shakti of Ishvara. God has many powers. One of those powers is grace. Anugraha Shakti is the power of grace. The power of grace is manifest in our lives as the Guru. Especially the Guru who gives us mantra diksha. Those who have taken mantra diksha. So many may not have had much chance to interact with their gurus. With my own guru, I spoke with him hardly thrice in my life. I saw him at a distance for a long time, but I spoke with him personally only thrice in my life. But that's not important. What is important is the form of the guru, the name of the guru, and the guru has given you the mantra diksha. That much, that connection with the divine through the human. The source of that grace is one. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, on the roof of the house, the rainwater collects. Then it comes out through the spouts, the spigots. If you see in old colonial architecture, the spouts through which the rainwater flowed would have gargoyle shapes, like a tiger, like a demon, like a lion. Have you seen mouths? So the water is coming out from the roof through all these different mouths. But the source of the water is the same roof, the same rainwater flowing out through different mouths. Similarly, Sri Ramakrishna said, the source of all grace is God, but comes out through the human guru. It's delivered through the human guru. That's why Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Reva Param Brahma, or Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I salute the Guru, who is none other than Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, all the deities. The Guru is verily the direct Brahman, Sakshat Brahma, Param Brahma. What does it mean? The grace of God is coming through the Guru. Not that the human Guru is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, not like that, not the other way around. Then the third is Shastra Kripa. Shastra Kripa means grace. Shastra means the text. The grace of the text is when you assiduously study it with reverence. I told you about that monk I met in the Himalayas. For decades, he studied, he just kept his mind there. And all he did was to study it and translate. Translation also was a way of keeping his mind there. If you do that, devotionally, if you study, devotion is with love and reverence, and you study it in order to, the modern word would be download it into myself, make it real for myself. Then there is a special grace of the text itself, called Shastra Kripa. It becomes illuminated all of a sudden. You say, I get it. Aha, it's done. So all these three, Sri Ramakrishna would say, all three are there. The grace of Ishvara, Guru, and Shastra. Three kripas are there. Kripa means grace. But without the kripa of the one, the jiva goes to destruction, rack and ruin. What is the kripa of the one, the grace of the one? The one is my own mind. I must want it. I have got, who is my guru? The my is more important than the guru. So I have got the best guru. I have got the best books. And God is so gracious to me. All that is fine. What about I? That is, the ego plays tricks. It's good. I mean, you sometimes see people in the Himalayas. What are you doing backpacking? I'm searching for a guru. Okay, good. That's good. 20 years later, you run into the same guy. Little gray in his hair and all, backpacking. What happened? I'm searching for a guru. Something wrong. Something wrong. What is the ego is playing a trick. I have not found the guru who matches my excellence. Guru must be like Ramakrishna for Vivekananda. Guru must be like Krishna for Arjuna. Well, neither are you Vivekananda nor are you Arjuna. You start with what you have got. Yes, you must select. You must see what is congenial to yourself. But that's it. Make a selection and start. It's more important to start than to keep looking at the CVs of different gurus. And whom will I hire? Whom will I fire? Not important. So, Atma Kripa. I must be up and doing. I must want it. Otherwise, no good. No good. Here is a note by Dineshanji. Without the grace of oneself, one's own self, all others are futile. If the seeker of liberation neither makes any effort to secure his own good, nor to attain peace, nothing at all can happen. But if one has the grace of one's own self, the other three types of grace will unite to make the path of liberation smooth. Do I want it or not? Then holy company. Number of verses will come. The importance of holy company. First, Guru. Number 4. Mahanubhava samparkat. Mahanubhava samparkat. Samsararnavalanghane. Samsararnavalanghane. Yukti samprapyate Rama. Yukti samprapyate Rama. Dridhanauriva navikat. Dridhanauriva navikat. O Rama, this is a dialogue between Vasishtha and Rama. Only from a sailor can one obtain a sturdy boat capable of crossing the ocean. Just so from the Guru who has attained the knowledge of the truth, one can obtain the means to cross over the ocean of worldliness. To attain nirvana, moksha, the Guru will show you the way. Then you must hold on to it and try it out, what the Guru has given you. There's a quotation by Dhireshanji from the Brihadaranyaka Vartika. Brihadaranyaka Vartika was written by Sureshwaracharya, the disciple of Shankaracharya. He says, Mahanubhava samparka kasya naunnati karak. Who is the one who is not benefited, uplifted by contact with the great? Ashutyapi payaha prapya gangam yati pavitratam. Even impure water, drain water, falling into the Ganga becomes Ganga water, is given the same status as Ganga water, becomes pure. So in contact with the holy, contact with the enlightened can help us. Who is the holy? Then the question will ask, What are the characteristics of the holy? Who is satsanga, the association with the holy? But how do I determine who is the holy? Upanishad says, Shrotriya Kamahata Brahmanishta. Three things. One is that person must be Brahmanishta, centered in Brahman. Centered in Brahman does not mean enlightened. We do not know who is enlightened, who is not enlightened. But externally we can see, is this person a full-time spiritual seeker or not? Or a part-time, like hobby, part-time. No, full-time spiritual seeker. At least this must be there. Brahmanishta, centered in Brahman. Spiritual practitioner, seeker, full-time. That's one. Second, and that's not just now. You see over many years, over a lifetime. Second, akamahata should not be, literally should not be damaged or destroyed by desire. That teacher must not have any other angle to the teaching. Making a quick buck. Always with any teacher, any organization receives tremendous amount of wealth. Generally, it's a red flag, generally. There's something wrong going on there. Sudden inflow of so much wealth and power and prosperity. It's not supposed to be there for a, in the case of a spiritual organization. Donations are always welcome, by the way. Donations are welcome. I read this very interesting, very touching story of one of the popes in the Vatican in the medieval times, about 1,000 years ago. So by that time, many of the rich, noble houses of Europe, the kings, and they are all, they would send tributes to the Vatican. So the Holy Father is standing on the upper slopes of the Vatican, of one tall tower, and his archbishop is next to him. And on horses and donkeys, there are processions coming in, loaded with silver and ornaments and money from different parts of Europe, tributes coming to the Holy Vatican. And the Archbishop is very happy. He says, Holy Father, just see. Now no longer we'll have to, suffer in poverty. And no longer do we have to suffer in poverty. This was a little longer, but he said this, no longer we have to suffer in poverty and want. Those days are gone. Those days are gone when we had to suffer. And the Holy Father says, gone too are the days when we could walk on water and heal the sick. This external manifestation, it comes at the cost of internal spirituality, the power. I was reading Saint Francis of Assisi, very beautiful. So one day the question was, he had started the Brotherhood, the Franciscans, which is still there, very big organization all over the world. So the question came to his mind, what will happen to this brotherhood after I and my disciples, this small group of brothers we have, we pass away, we are getting old, then what will happen to this? In his dream, Jesus came and showed him a statue. Head was gold, chest was silver, belly was bronze, and legs were iron. Then in the dream, Francis asked Jesus, what is the meaning of this? So the meaning of this is the answer to your question. Do you not understand? The head of gold is you and your brothers. You are men of gold. You are men of prayer, contemplation, and tears. You're crying for God. That's how you spend life. People will not understand your value now. When you are gone, your disciples, the next generation will come. They'll be men of silver. That means they will not be given to so much meditation, so much purity, holiness, but they'll be great intellectuals. They will write books about you and the other brothers here, your teaching. They will write books and spread it. And they're men of great character also. They'll shine like silver. And men will respect them, and through them they will understand your value. But you will be gone by that time. Then belly of bronze, the next generation, their disciples who will come, they will be neither men of great piety and holiness and prayer and contemplation, nor they'll be men of great character and intellect, but they'll be men who will go around the world and collect a lot of money and build big cathedrals and organizations and buildings and huge these monasteries, and spread across the world. And men will respect them. It's all right. Remembering you, they will respect them and give them money. Then what is that last one? That legs of iron. He said, those are the ones who will come after that. They will neither be holy, nor they'll be intellectual, nor they'll be hardworking. They will spend their time in laziness and all the accumulated wealth, and they will quarrel among themselves. They will indulge in politics, and men will be disgusted with them. This is the future of your organization. And he was weeping. Then Jesus said, "Why are you weeping? This is the future this is the way of all things in the world." Then Francis said, "I am not weeping for that. I am weeping for the few sincere ones who will come in each generation. What will happen to them?" And then Jesus said, very important, he says, they will have to take care of themselves. They will have to take care of themselves. So next day in the morning, Francis went and told this story to his brother disciples and said, let it be a message down the generations. Your spiritual life is your responsibility. You have to take care of it yourself. Don't blame anybody in the world. So I want this realization. Then the power of the holy, company with the holy evokes this power in us. We feel in the company of holy people, we feel, I too can be like that. I too, can I get that peace? There's something called holy envy. You know that? By seeing a very spiritual person, we get a feeling of jealousy. What does that person have that if I could only get that? I have felt it myself, looking at very great Swami, some tremendous peace and purity and highness is there all the time. And everybody feels that when they come in close in contact with that Swami. I feel, what is it? Can I not have it? So, Mahanubhava Samparka, Kasya Unnati Karaka, who is not benefited by contact with the holy. Dhireshanji says, the power to discriminate between or discern between essential, non-essential awakens, profound devotion, love of God develops, and worldly cravings reduce in the company of the holy. It does not mean that always you have to go with Vedanta questions to the holy. I used to do that. There was a great teacher, Ram Maharaj, Swami Mokshadanandji. I was very lucky to be influenced by him in my early part of my spiritual life. As to go to him, I thought I have to go with profound Vedantic questions because he was a great scholar, also a very saintly man. I really feel he was fully enlightened. So I was to go early with those questions and he would answer them. But later, over time, I realized I don't have to do that. I could just sit with him and he would ask a few questions about my welfare. How are you? What are you doing these days? And I would bathe in that holy presence. I would go away with it. It's almost like a perfume of holiness from him. Even their small talk, the little small talk, little casual conversation is very uplifting. Which a powerful oration on spirituality and philosophy from another, say, professor will not affect us so much. Just a few simple words from such holy people. It touches us and we remember it also. It uplifts us. Even jokes. Once Vivekananda, he was very funny. So he was joking and he made a joke about Sri Ramakrishna. Somebody said, should you be joking about Sri Ramakrishna? Vivekananda immediately said, so whom should I joke about? About you? Meaning, even my jokes will not come down from that level. Whatever I'll talk about will be related to that. Then one more note here is, there are two meanings of satsanga, primary meaning, secondary meaning. Satsanga, company of the holy, that's what we think. Primary meaning is, sat is self, atman, brahman. Devotee says, presence of God. The presence of God, that is satsanga. You feel the presence of the divine. In Advaita, not presence of the divine. I am that. To be centered in awareness, to be centered in that impersonal consciousness, I am that. That is real satsanga. Primary meaning of the term satsanga. Secondary meaning of the term satsanga is a company of those who are spiritual seekers. Oh, I didn't complete the 3 qualifications. So, of the truly holy. Who are truly holy? Brahmanishta, centered in Brahman. Second is akamahata, does not have any other desires other than your spiritual welfare. Third, Shrotriya, has the ability to transmit the spiritual teachings. So must be a master of that tradition, whichever tradition. Here is the tradition of Advaita Vedanta. If that, sometimes a person may be a very holy person, but has not studied it systematically, so cannot teach somebody else. How will that person will not be able to convey? The vehicle is not there to convey. Might be personally very holy. So what we need is a person who is trained in the tradition, who can teach us. That's the minimum. Trained in the tradition, who can teach us and has no desires and is personally a spiritual practitioner of a high order. That's what we are looking for. And the company of the holy, such person's company is immensely beneficial. That's what he's saying. Also, he says, books written by such people, if such people are not available. Sometimes they may not be available. Swami Ashokanandaji, who was the Swami in charge of the Vedanta Society of Northern California in 1940s, 50s, 60s. There's a letter by him written to an American lady. The letter says, Madam, I am glad to know that you are ready for holy company, that you want holy company. But the real question is, do the holy want your company? It's a little unkind. But enlightened people, the books written by them, that's also holy company. You read their teachings and their life, the life of the saints. It doesn't have to be only an Advaita Vedanta master. It could be a saint in any of the traditions in Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam. The enlightened people across the world, saintly people across the world, they all belong to this one category. It's always inspiring to read the letter, very inspiring. You will feel inspired. Then one more, then we'll go into a little bit of question answer. Now is introducing the unique method of Advaita Vedanta. What is the unique method of the devotional religions? Devotion, love, faith. What is the unique method of yoga? Meditation, control of the mind, focus of the mind. What is the unique method of Advaita Vedanta? What is it that we are supposed to do here? Just listen to lectures? No. Vichara, inquiry, an inquiry. And there's a method of this inquiry. We know it. Drigdrishya Viveka, Panchakosha Viveka, the method of the seer and the seen, the method of the 5 levels of the human personality, the method of the Avastatraya, waking, dreaming, deep sleep. These are all Vichara, inquiry. These are all pedagogical, meant to point out something to us, so that we can catch it for ourselves. Now he's introducing the method, unique method of Advaita Vedanta. It is not work. It is not devotion. It is not meditation, though all of them are helpful. Remember, a warning, a caution here. After listening to all this, if someone does not understand, not so much of a problem. Little understanding, half understanding, dangerous. I get it. I am limitless awareness. Here I am shining. Good, go on shining. Idiot. I don't need to meditate. I'll stop. What was I doing? Foolishness. Asking for trouble. Asking for serious trouble. All spiritual practices which we are doing must go on. In fact, must be intensified. I remember this person in the Himalayas. I met him. He lived in a cottage next to mine. Gentleman, he'd retired from a job, elderly, and he was there practicing meditation and all. And he had just discovered Ashtavakra Gita, which is a very radical non-dual text. And he said to me, Asli baat to yahan hai, Mahatma. This is the real teaching. My guru, what he is doing is worshipping tulsi plant. The Hindus, ritualistically, there's a tulsi plant and they offer worship to it. I said to him, I knew his guru. So I knew that he was a very good sadhu, very good sadhu. So I asked him, where did you get this book? Oh, from my guru's ashram. So do you think your guru has read it? Yes. He knows it? Yes. And after that, he's also worshipping the tulsi? Wo to hai, that is true. Think. Why? Why? Don't discard spiritual practices. A Tibetan Lama put it very beautifully. There is no doubt you and your guru are the same reality. Never fail to show respect to the guru. There is no doubt that the city and the forest are the same. Never miss an opportunity to go into a retreat. It is no doubt it is the same reality with eyes closed and eyes open. Never miss your meditation. Like this 7-8 warnings. Okay. Number 5. Samsara dirgharogasya suvichara mahoshadham koham kasya cha samsaro vivekena viliyate. Who am I? Whose are these worldly bondages? This type of vichara, inquiry, is the only sure medicine for this long-lasting disease of worldliness. Through this inquiry alone will the delusion of the world disappear. So the method is inquiry. Who am I or what am I? what is all this? And when we truly realize that I am Brahman, Brahman alone is appearing as all this, our problem will be solved. Realize means actually, it's like a veil being lifted from your eyes. Suddenly you see. And is it a true realization? Is it a glimpse? True realization, one sign of the true realization is it will never go away. It does not require any more practice to keep it. It will become permanent. Just as you are. So this is Sarvapriyananda, this identity. I don't have to practice morning and evening. And Sarvapriyananda meditation, Sarvapriyananda japa. No. It is, even though the name is given to me, it's a superimposition. Still, it is effortless for me now. Just like all of us, for our own identity, it should become effortless like that. That's the sign of a real breakthrough. That you effortlessly identify, you say that I am awareness. And yes, I can function through this body mind as a person, no doubt. There are a number of verses which he has quoted from other sources. Let me just quote them and translate, and a note I will give and finished. These are supplemental verses. You will not find it in the soft copy. These are only in the book. Nityam karma parityajya vedanta shravanam vina vartamanastu sannyasi patatyeva na samshayaha. The monk who having given up, it's for monks. So monk who having given up duties, worldly duties. You don't have a family to maintain, you don't have a job, and the world feeds you, gives you food, place to stay. You don't have to file taxes. Though in this country, you have to file taxes as a monk. I discovered, I didn't know. The IRS doesn't care whether you're a monk or not. You have to file taxes. So no worldly duties are there. No worldly duties are there. Without any worldly duty. And yet, Vedanta Shravanam Vina, without Vedantic Shravana Manana Nididhyas, and does not engage oneself in Vedantic Shravana Manana Nididhyas, what will happen? Patatyevana Samshaya will fall. This is certain. You will slip and fall in spiritual life. And so that's why when you become in monastic life, the time and energy that you get plenty of freedom. And that has to be filled up. So when we become novices, monastic novices, we become busier than ever before. In the initial years at least, we used to think why so much work and duties are being given from waking till you fall asleep at night. You're continuously kept engaged. It's important. That training, that engagement in spiritual karma, meditation, worship, study, one after another. I mean, I blessed those. At that time, we used to get frustrated. We used to feel so much work. I'm not getting time for meditation. Not realizing if they'd said, all right, go and meditate, we'd go crazy. There was one monk who came to Swami Turiyananda in Banaras and said, look, it was a hospital, which we run it even now. So Swami Turiyananda was a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, great Vedanta and enlightened person. So this young monk said, I don't like all this work, hospital, patients, doctors, medicine, and all of that. No. Okay, what do you want to do? I want to meditate. That's why I became a monk. And Turiyananda said, all right, tell him to go and meditate, no more duties. There's a room, he's going to stay there. We'll send his food to that room. He is not to come out, not to mix with anybody. He has to stay there and meditate. After a few days, Swami asked the others, that monk, what happened? I'm not seeing him around. How is he doing? Swami, he's talking to the tree outside his window. Okay, enough. Call him outside. Go work in the temple and in the hospital? Yes, Swami. Not so easy. Not so easy. So, must be engaged in spiritual practice deliberately. There are many things to be said about this. We have no time. Gacchas tishthato vapi jagrata swapnato api va na vichara param cheto yasyaso mrita uchyate. While walking, while sitting, while awake, even while dreaming, Vedantic inquiry must continue. Otherwise, you are dead. So this inquiry is not some kind of leisure activity. It's an intense inquiry. You must be seized by this. What is this? Who am I? And not just random questions like that. There's a technique of doing that. Use the technique. Here is the world. I'm seeing it with the eyes. Now attention is to the eyes. Here is the eyes. I'm aware of it through the mind. Here is the mind. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, memories. What is the mind appearing to? Blank. That my blank is also being experienced by what? Do it again and again and again until it becomes clear to you. What you're looking for is already here. It's just that we don't see. We don't see. So that inquiry will help you to break through. There's an old Sanskrit verse my Nyaya teacher had told me. I've forgotten the verse, but what it means is this. The poet who does not compose for a month is no poet. Then the grammarian who does not recite Vyakarana, the grammarian who does not recite his declensions and forms daily is no grammarian. And the Nayayika, Nayayika means logician, who does not reason from moment to moment is no logician. Every moment he must be spent in reasoning and argumentation for the logician. Here, the Advaitin is the one who must have Advaitic inquiry. Amrite asupte kalab naet Vedanta chintaya. How do you spend your time in spiritual life? This Vedantic study, reflection, it must go on till you fall asleep every day. Which is very easy in Vedantic, and just quickly fall asleep. And till you die. It should go on, or until you are enlightened. If not enlightened, study and reflection, this engagement with Vedanta every day, till you fall asleep daily, and till the body drops off in death. This must be the kind of focus. Note, this is the final item. Inquiry, just for our sake, Yoga Vashishta, the original text, mentions 5 types of inquiry. Arthanartha vichara, discrimination or inquiry between what is valuable and what is not valuable. This is a big inquiry in life. We have certain valuables. I'll tell you, it's mostly rubbish. We don't need it. Almost all the stuff, especially in this country, I'm completely fond of stuff. It overflows the house, then it goes into the garage. It overflows the garage, then it goes. This is the only place I've seen storage space. Big blocks of place. It's an air-conditioned storage. For what? For stuff. And you have to pay money to store it. Almost all of it is not essential for you. Not valuable. You know what it is? It's very harsh. You know what it is when people collect so many things. Have you seen unfortunate mentally ill people with a bag of rubbish collected from here and there? They walk around from place to place, stagger around on the weight of just garbage. But they somehow feel it is mine. We are like that. Minimize. Anartha. It's just enough to carry on your life, your profession, take care of your family. Or if those are not essentials anymore, then minimize even further. One person who was a devotee, they had a flash flood and he lost almost everything. A house, car, they had to run up to the 2nd floor because the 1st floor of the house was suddenly flooded. They saw their cars floating away in the flood, and most of their house was damaged. Most of their things which they collected over 10-20 years of marriage, it was damaged or it floated away. Then he realized how much of it was inessential. Really doesn't make a difference. And so they made a decision not to do that anymore, to collect the minimum, have a minimal lifestyle. So artham anartha, what is worthwhile, what is not worthwhile. I read this in old Reader's Digest. I read this story. This man, professor, who had a huge collection of books. So when he retired, he gave away most of the books, but he kept the classics of world literature and the Bible. Then he gave away the classics, and finally he said in his ripe old age, all I need is the rocking chair and the Bible and my glasses, nothing else. Sri Ramakrishna once saw a sadhu in Dakshineshwar Kali temple sitting under a tree and very carefully reading a book. He had only one book. He was reading that. So Sri Ramakrishna became curious. What is that book? What does it contain? So he went and saw in that book throughout, handwritten, throughout, Rama, 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 Rama. And he's reading it very seriously day after day. Yes, that's all you need. So artham anartham. Then discrimination, inquiry into sara vichara, essential and inessential. What is essential, what is inessential? Sara vichara. Just like this book, it is Yoga Vashishta Sara, the essence of Yoga Vashishta. So from all the things that we study in this world, what is essential? That old man found that his Bible was essential. Similarly, the Vedantic teaching is essential. In that also, the stories are not so much important. The logical arguments are also not so much important. Ultimately, what does it boil down to? After all those texts, all those arguments against different schools of philosophy and all, vast literature is there in Vedanta. But finally, it boils down to something like Ashtavakra, which just tells you the same thing over and over and over again, that you are Brahman. It boils down to one sentence, Aham Brahmasmi. All those things are helpful. They enrich your understanding of that sentence. Otherwise, those are just words. So, Sara Vichara. To ascertain that I am Brahman, this is the only essence of this whole world. Then, He Upadaya Vichara. What is to be accepted, what is to be rejected? At every moment in life, the world comes to us. What do I take out of this experience and what do I reject from this experience? Then, fourth one, Pramana Tatparya Nirikshana Vichara, which is a big mouthful. What it means is study of the texts in order to ascertain the meaning of the text. That is an inquiry, which we are doing right now, for example. With the help of a teacher and a text, we are trying to ascertain the meaning of the Vedantic texts. This is the inquiry which we are doing right now. Finally, all of this is for the fifth one, the real inquiry. Atma Tattva Nirikshana Vichara. Who am I inquiry? The real nature of the self. I am, I know. I am Sarvapriyananda, that also I know. If I look at my ID, some more things I will know. But that's not what is meant here. Who am I here means, what am I? This body? No, why not? I must be very clear. I must not only understand why I'm not this body, I must also see clearly I'm not this body. See means in my understanding, in my clarity, as a reality. And then mind, not the mind. Why not the mind? I must see clearly and understand like that. Atma Tattva Nirikshana Vichara. All right. A few questions. Hopefully, if you have some questions, please come up here or here. Yeah. So a couple of questions. 2 questions here and 2 questions here. That's it. Because we have to give up this hall soon. Yes.
Good evening, Swami. So my name is Vishal. We started with defining the what of consciousness, and then you spoke of the how. And my perception of the why was that we are trying to sort of know ourselves. And in that spectrum, I feel like I found myself paying a lot of emphasis on the higher self. And so a question that I had in my mind is it wrong to also indulge thoughts which explore like the other end of the spectrum, which is, again, like if I have the thought process of inquiry, then would it be incorrect or wrong to explore the lower self as well?
No, it's not wrong. For example, psychology. Is it helpful? It's helpful. Medicine, psychology, our ways of dealing with the world, those are all helpful in spiritual life, but they're not essential. The one essential thing is to realize who you are. Yeah. So all that inquiry is good. Anything that, see, hey upadaya, what is to be acquired, what is to be gotten rid of. So certain things are helpful, which enrich my life. Those things are good, but attention should not be on those. Attention should be on the Vedantic inquiry. Yeah. Yes.
So on the same part, in some of the things I don't know, this I'm noticing it, like the world need to be given away, like Vairagya. But in some other places we say that we need to embrace the world. So I'm not very clear. What's the
yes. So the question here is, do we need to give up the world or embrace the world? What do we need to do? This is the crucial and the very deep insight given by Vivekananda. Vivekananda says, he who runs away to meditate and die in a Himalayan cave has missed the way. He who plunges headlong into the foolishnesses and vanities of the world has missed the way. The way is to deify the world itself, to deify our life itself, to see God in everything and everybody. That's basically Vedanta Vichara. If I realize that, the first step is to realize I am Brahman, then immediately our idea about everybody will change. As long as I think I'm the body, I think everybody else is a body. As long as I think I'm a person, I think everybody else is a person. Automatically. When I see the reality about myself, the witness consciousness behind the person, I will say everybody is that same witness consciousness. So deification of the world, seeing Brahman everywhere, that is the goal. Practically, what does it mean? Practically, one might be a monk living in an ashram. Practically, one might be a warrior like Rama, who is here, a warrior prince, or like Arjuna, who is also a warrior. Krishna is a householder. Vashishta is a householder. They're fully jnanis. So it's not a question of embracing the world. If you just embrace the world for the sake of the world, you're a materialist. If you're running away from the world, there's something wrong in your understanding of that ultimate reality. That's what Rama was doing. I will give up the kingdom, the world, and I will run away and to the forest. He had to go to the forest ultimately. So that is a different story. But Vashishta convinced him. What you will find in the forest, in the mountain, you will find here in Ayodhya, in the capital also. Everywhere. Is that embracing the world? No, it is embracing Brahman, the reality. It is being centered in the reality. In the forest, you are happy. In the city, you are happy. In the midst of people, you are happy. And when you are alone in solitude, you are perfectly happy. This is the ideal. Yes.
There's something you've said before that I was hoping to hear you reiterate. It's in the context of when someone is trying to practice nididhyasana or meditation and they're not able to concentrate. It's because their mind is impure. And you have like this flowchart approach for how to tackle that. Can you?
Yes. Can you hold on to that question? It's an important question. We'll start tomorrow with it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The flowchart or the matrix of sadhana. From an Advaitic perspective, what is to be done? I mean, quite apart from Vedantic texts and all that, but actual practice, what is to be done? So there's a matrix of sadhana. I mentioned it often. Some of you may have heard it, which worth repeating. Yes, last question.
Namaste, Swamiji. This is a profound opportunity. Thank you for it. You also said that all questions need not be profound Vedantic questions.
Did I say that?
So this is a question that I have been asked by my student and I'm struggling to find an answer. I teach middle school, so my students are 10 to 12 years old. About 70% of them are atheists. They claim they're atheists, they do not believe in God. But one of my students, when he had his most down moment, he was rolling on the floor and crying. And his question to me was, Mrs. Pandit, when we are all marching towards death, what's the purpose of doing anything?
Yes. So we're all atheists. We don't believe in God. But you're also all 11 years old. So don't take it seriously. Somebody wrote saying that you say the goal of Vedanta is overcoming suffering and attainment of bliss or happiness. But my 13-year-old daughter said, you accept the happiness. Why not accept the unhappiness also? Why are you trying to overcome unhappiness? So what I didn't know what to say to her. She's 13 years old. Luckily for her, and let us pray to God, she never has faced any serious suffering in her life. Will you ever say to a person dying of the pain of a terminal illness, to a mother crying for a dying child, so this is unhappiness. You're happy when the child was born, be happy when the child dies also, no problem. Can you ever say that? No, that's craziness. It's a child who's saying it, doesn't matter. So the atheism of children, don't take it seriously. This is a country which worships children. So there's a serious danger in that. One person was walking with me once. He said that he kept on telling me what are the spiritual lessons he has learned from his dog. I was thinking, you are walking with a monk. You are talking about God realization, G-O-D. And all the way down, the wisdom you're getting, the source is your dog. Yeah. So, if they don't believe in God, don't try to force them to believe in God. It doesn't matter. If you're all going towards that, what is the point? We're not going towards that. Every religion says we do not die with the death of the physical body. It's a mistake to think that. If everything ended with the death of the physical body, that would be in a sense fine, the materialist solution. Then you don't have to wait long. Few days, few months, few years, gone, finished. No, we are not going towards that. We are actually experts at dying. Many times we have died earlier, and many times more we will die until we become enlightened. So the thing is to realize who we are, what we are, and what's going on here. All right. That's the goal of vichara. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. We'll meet again tomorrow. What's the time? 1:30. So just come before 1:30. We'll start tomorrow again.
Two quick announcements. We have food boxes upstairs, so when on your way to exit the church, you'll see the food boxes, so please take one box each person. And the second is that the church has another event at 6, and they would like us to free the parking as soon as possible for their guests to come. So, and they would like to have the church. So thank you so much, and see you all tomorrow.
Thank you.